Hello everyone and welcome to this time 2 battles of the week. And they are connected not only because they are both on Georgovia, but first and foremost they showcase my problem with my problems with the recent change to capping points and how you receive them. So the change is that you lose your points for base capture upon leaving the base. But what I didn't change, for example, is that you don't lose points for decaps if the unit you decapped left the base. So it's an inconsistent logic, which previously was consistent. You just kept the points from capping, plain and simple. And that's the only case in the game where you lose points that you have previously earned. Unfriendly fire, I guess, but that's different. Okay, so what I can see here is that the replay, well, the battle definitely didn't last 2 minutes. Yeah, it's doesn't. Well, okay, so I'm just gonna tell you what happened. So, towards the end of the battle, there were only 2 players left on both sides. On the enemy side it was light artillery player and infantry player. On our side it was Green Reaper archers and spears. The infantry player was capping our base, or rather trying to cap, while the light artillery player was running around this area being chased by my archers. And the infantry player at all costs wanted to cap our base. Well, it wasn't really possible, and he was continuously over and over decapped by either my archers or Reaper's spearmen. And while I chased down and killed his light artillery player. And his team, the enemy team for me, was at a huge advantage throughout the entire battle, pretty much since the very beginning towards almost the very end. And only at the very end, me and Reaper managed to win the battle for our team. And in my opinion, we've managed to win that battle for our team because that infantry player refused to move from our base, and we could just easily decap him over and over again, while he wasn't contributing anything really, because I could just go back one of my most depleted archer units and just keep decapping, and he just wouldn't leave. And if you think like that, okay, that replay is also a fact. So if you think about that, he's being there, he has these max 2k points that you can have for capping, and he's constantly being decapped. He can easily see that the capture is not possible. He has to go out there and try to kill us, and try to help his teammate. But if he does that, he loses 2k points. He doesn't want to do that. And his math kinda checks out, because if he does that, he isn't guaranteeing himself a win. He increases his chance to win, obviously. But the point system suggests otherwise, because point system should reward good actions, so maybe he thinks like that. But well, anyway, the math checks out, because he couldn't possibly get 2k points by killing 2 remaining players, because we didn't have full HP, because well, it was at the very end of the battle, while we have previously fought a lot already. So, well, since the route isn't working, I'm just gonna tell you what happened in the other battle as well. But anyway, the point is that the point system incentivized that player, pretty much told him if he follows the logic of point system reward good action and doesn't reward bad action or useful action. Why isn't it entirely? Well, now it obviously isn't true. Then he followed what the point system suggests right now in this current iteration. And because of that, he lost the battle. He would almost certainly won if he just left the base and chased us, fought us, helped his teammate. Now the other battle, where I played Sula and Cavalry, after initial fights, in the middle, quite equal, so the battle was very equal, which is also an important point. The battle ended 60-40 for our team, and it ended in a timeout. So, after the initial battle in the middle, blah blah, I went to kill enemy artillery. I succeeded, but after doing so, I was left with almost a depleted cavalry force, so I couldn't contribute much if I just went into the front lines. So instead I decided to start capping the base and put pressure on the enemy team, because our team was actually losing in the front lines. Because I started capping the base, I forced an enemy elephant player to come back to his base. And now I've traded my possible pressure on the front lines by capping the base. If I cap the base, I'm not providing pressure on the front lines, but what I'm doing is relieving the pressure from the front lines by forcing enemy players to come back to the base. And that elephant player, which had pretty much 3 full HP elephants, came back, and I relieved much more pressure from my team that I could have ever possibly provided onto the enemy team. Or, I don't know, enforced English is hard. But when I saw those elephants coming back, and when they were close enough, I just left the base, because I knew that this capture was never going to go through. And, well, I didn't want to get hit by elephants, because why would I get damaged? Since I'm cavalry, I'm much faster than elephants. I just went back to the front lines, which were now much more depleted, and my depleted units were more in line with what everyone else had, and I could actually contribute to the battle. While the elephants, who are still quite fast, but not as fast as cavalry, stayed back, well, they also tried to come back, but couldn't make it as fast as I did. And that, in the end, swung the battle in our favor, which we were losing up until that point. And yeah, so I did the right thing. My action, I believe, contributed greatly, and every single thing matters, and I'm sure there were a lot of many things that overall contributed to our team's victory. But the thing I did was quite important, and that one was the battle. But I didn't get any points for that, for the fact that I captured, and that forced an enemy elephant player to come back. Because if he didn't come back, well, that capture actually might have been completed in 5 minutes. Yeah, but there was also like an infantry missing that infantry could have also started capping. So that elephant player made a correct decision at that time, at that point in time. And now you can say, well, but the elephant player didn't get rewarded. He came back to decap, but you ran away before he could decap you, and he doesn't get any points. Yes, that's true. That's what I meant earlier on, that, well, it doesn't really reward every single good action, and there's also plenty of other good actions that aren't rewarded or aren't as rewarded as they should, like, you know, buffing, but that's coming, and other things. But there is another change already in place since like May or something that negates that issue, because developers are aware that their point system isn't perfect, and let's face it, it's never going to be perfect or even remotely close to being perfect, because trying to quantify your usefulness to the team and how much you contributed to the victory is impossible. They are doing a pretty good job at it, but yeah, that's just true. They are never going to be perfect and not completely accurate. So how do they negate that? They negate that by your rewards in XP coming mostly from overall team performance, which is good, because if your team overall does well, it might have been not because of you, or sometimes even despite of you, but that also is a thing that you can never possibly tell correctly. And well, but you then are getting your most likely fair share of points, or rewards rather. So I do think that it is a good thing. Maybe, you know, the exact implementation is not correct, but the general idea is good. So, you know, it could have like changed the percentages of how much you're getting for your own performance and how much for team performance. But that's about tweaking the numbers, not about the general idea being wrong. Well, in case of capture, the general idea is just wrong because it doesn't reward correct actions and it punishes and it rewards bad actions. Well, that would be pretty much my point about the recent change. Previously, it was fine. The only flaw was the base farm capture. Cap points farming, there we go, proper name for that. Where you could just leave and enter the base multiple times, and multiple players could do that, and you know, people would generally earn a lot more points than they should have. But I would say it was pretty much harmless, and it was definitely by far the lesser of the evils. Because I haven't really seen a situation where people would go for base cap farming. Did I say correctly? Doesn't matter. That would lose them the game in the end. People would only do that really if the battle was 100% won. You have a huge lead, you don't know where the last unit is, and it's your daily, you might as well farm cap points, right? So yeah, I haven't really seen a situation where people would start capping farm points in a base phase situation. It's like, oh shit, they are capping our base, we are capping their base. Oh, let's farm cap points. Never seen someone doing that. Proud, but I don't know when they introduced that change. Definitely more than half a year ago, maybe a year ago. Maybe not a year, but whatever. It was quite some time ago. And when they did, I applauded that change. And when they announced that they are reverting the change for the most part, oops, sorry. Yeah, I said that nope, it is a shitty idea, and there are going to be problems. And I've gave an examples of those problems. Well, now it is a week after the patch? Yeah, a week. And I've already encountered these problems multiple times. And I had really good replays to showcase that, but well, they don't work. Speaking of which, since I'm already ranting, I would like to rant about one more thing. It is about patch policy of CA. So we've got in this patch replays don't work at all, well, from what I can see. Maybe some work, but previously it was mostly fine. They were desyncing towards the end or just not desyncing at all. And this time 2 out of 2 replays that I really liked and wanted to show people, well, more even, that I would really like to make videos from. But they don't work, because there's a bug in this patch. Why? Because, well, they didn't test it properly. That's why bugs make it through. And why didn't they test it properly? Because they don't have time, because they are on this constant 2-week schedule, which just isn't sustainable. That just is being proven by these bugs in these patches. But not only that, it's also being proven by the patches being empty. For example, for this patch, we've only got the point change and a few bug fixes. And well, those bug fixes aren't even like important ones, apart from maybe 1 or 2. And we were supposed to get more new skins, but they didn't work, so we didn't end up in this patch. And in the past we've gotten like patches that would only change like a few aspects, not related to the core gameplay of Arena. So like, oh, UI improvements. Okay, UI improvements are nice, maybe they are needed, but they are not going to change your overall feel of the game that much, right? What changes your overall feel of the game are balance changes, because they change a lot about how the game plays, and usually they go in the correct direction. Sadly, also quite often they don't go in the correct direction, but well. Yeah, so I just think 2 weeks, 2-week cycle of patches is not sustainable, because some patches are just fluff updates that feel that, well, we don't have anything to put in the patch, so we're just gonna put something that we can do quickly, and then because they do it quickly, it isn't tested properly, and there are new bugs like focus fire bug, or I got a crash today and I've got rewards for that, so that's something new, because when I crash I always get 0 rewards. This time I actually got rewards for that, no idea why. And I crashed upon loading into the battle. Well, the loading didn't start, it just crashed upon finding a session, I guess. So yes, CA, take this as my sincere advice. The world is not going to end if we don't get a patch every other Thursday. Take your time, prepare like substantial, satisfying patches with changes that we actually need, rather than providing these fluff updates. Anyway, that's the end of my rant, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully Battle of the Week instead of Rant of the Week.